Hey-oh, it's Alaska. 50 states in 50 weeks, baby. Bits and bites. Doing it again, week 2. Alaska. Ah, we got a lot of shit to do today in Alaska. Don't we, production? I can't wait. It's so cold outside. It's cold here. And we're going deep into the murky waters or oceans of Alaska. Hot damn. We made it. Who would have thought we'd be going to Alaska? Bring that shit down there, Q. Move my goddamn mouse. Move this mic. It's not opportune setup here. Not ideal. It's almost like it was set up haphazardly. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining. Bits and Bites, Week 2, Alaska, United States edition, Alaska. Got the old trusty book here. Let's see what we got about Alaska. Let's pull up the stats first. Let's read the official stat list before we go anywhere. Alaska, state nicknamed the last frontier. Why? 1959, it's the 49th state of the Union. Apparently we bought it from Russia in 1867, I read, for 2 cents on the acre. But apparently it took almost 100 years to say, you're okay, you could come be a state. Apparently Canada didn't care either. Population as of July 2015 is almost 750K. Big-ass state. Capital, Juneau. Biggest city, Anchorage, abbreviation AK, ACK, baby. State bird, willow ptarmigan. The old willow ptarmigan. There it is. Everyone knows the state bird, the willow ptarmigan. And then the state flower is the forget-me-not. This cute blue little thing. Oh, thanks for that little intro jam there that we had. That was fantastic. Well, here we are. It's been a week. We have some items here from Alaska, and we have some guests joining us from Alaska. This time, guests representing almost all of the items that we have. This is very exciting. What time is it? It's 4:30. I wanted to get in here a little bit early, kick it off. Maybe try some stuff before everybody gets in here. It's going to be quite the raucous call. We have, well, let's see what we have. What did we have from Alaska? Let's bring it up. Let's see here. So Alaska, we know they got the fish. They do smoked salmon in a big, big way up there. So from some company, which I can't read because I'm not going to take the box right now, apparently one of the best companies to get some smoked salmon from up in the state. We got some smoked salmon straight out of Alaska. Not even sure if I want to open that and have the studio completely reek of smoked salmon, but we'll see. Maybe that's where we go. More importantly than that, our friends at Alaska Salt Company, we have a nice package from them full of all kinds of treats. Alaskan rhubarb jam made with Alaskan rhubarb. Didn't know it grew up there. Didn't know you could grow a lot of things up there. Alaskan spruce top jelly. Couple different kinds of honey. And I believe, and they'll be on later, Molly and Casey, or Holly and Casey, or at least one of them, will be on later to tell us a little bit about their salt company and their bit and what they're doing up there and what it's like up in their neck of the woods. Pretty stoked to hear about Alaskan salt. It's cold as shit up there. They got a lot of water, salt water indeed, and they're salting it up. So I want to hear a little about that. And then we also got a little bit of Bowl Whip hot sauce you see right there, the smaller bottle, made from Alaskan kelp and some kind of peppers, I guess, from Alaska. The people from Barnacle just got at me right before we went live. Apparently, may be joining us as well. So very exciting. It's going to be a fest of Alaskans and myself. So there's only one way to kick it off. Let's get cocktail making. This is from Port Chilkoot Distillery. This is their 50 Fathoms Gin, which is not easy to come by in the great state of New Jersey, but don't worry, your boy got it here because I care about you and I care about the show, and more importantly, I care about some delightful gin. Made by hand in Southeast Alaska, 50 Fathoms Gin won the double gold at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition. Now it's winning fans everywhere. We distill it in the London Dry style, which you should know. We've talked about that on Hack Chef shows before. With whole juniper berries, coriander, very common for gins, and a distinctive finish of tangerine, which I believe they get from like a family farm in California, I think, if I remember reading right. Mix it with top shelf tonic or let it light up your cocktails. Well, don't mind if I do. So let's crack this open and get right into it. Let's cleanse the palate with some Alaskan gin. We gotta prime the pipes for this big Alaskan roundtable meeting of the minds we're gonna have. Thanks for joining, everybody. I see you all in the chat. Appreciate you. Holler, holler. Ask some questions if you like. Also, the phone lines we'll have live. We should probably test those. I got them somewhere here. Thought I did. Hey, there it is. (843 Rebel TV), 843 Rebel TV, and your phone, my phone, should ring, and you should be on the line. So if you'd like to call, 843 Rebel TV, 843 Rebel TV. Give it a call. Let's test that before we train wreck our meeting with all of our Alaskan friends. My glasses are filthy. Excuse me. So I'm pretty stoked for this. We got Alaskan salt to taste. I'm going to get in there and try that. I'm going to take some of the jam and jelly. I think we're going to make like a mint jam thing, which is like a nice cocktail where you simply stir the jam into the gin, and I'm going to use some really Alaskan-based jams with their fruits and spruce tips and shit. I'm like kind of really stoked about that. But first, I want to get into this gin. I don't think I brought a glass down. That's smart. Well, this beaker here is going to have to do. I legit did not bring a glass down. I brought everything else to mix, to cut, to scoop, all these things. So let's just get right into it. Let's pour some of the gin right in the glass. Let's taste it. And, well, let's put it in the mixing glass. Shall we? So yeah, I thought it was interesting when I was reading a little bit about Alaska, and maybe I'm using the word interesting very liberally, that we bought it as America in 1867 from Russia for pretty goddamn cheap, and then we didn't make it a state. We're gonna see how citrusy it is. It smells. Let's get right into it here. Okay, well, I definitely get the coriander. And I definitely get, like, tangerine, not orange, not necessarily citrus, but definitely, like, specifically it's tangerine zest almost. It's interesting. I'm excited to talk to them about it and hear a little bit about what they get in there. It smells really good. It smells like make a great martini with it. That being said, let's just, I guess let's get started with some cocktails. So I'm just going to chill this down. I'm just going to chill a straight ounce of it and then drink it straight. And we're going to see how that is. And then we'll make a cocktail with the jam. And we'll taste the jam. So we're just going to go 1 ounce of gin in there. Don't mind us here. So I didn't want to add too much shit into here. Like, I would make a martini. That would be fantastic. And I'm sure I'll have a martini this evening with it. But I think for the sake of not having to clean this thing out a million times, I'm just going to chill this gin down very simply with this ice. Just stir it through, dilute it a little bit, pour it in my beaker to drink out of because your boy forgot his glass, and then just taste it straight up as it is. I've been drinking a fair amount of gin martinis, so my palate is ready and stoked for something like this. So this is just gin. The ice is just ginned up, so when we start adding things to it, it won't be marred. So cheers. Super clean, really dry, really delicious. Like the herbs come through. I could taste Alaska. You know, I could really taste Alaska in it. I could taste the snow. I could taste the escaped criminal breath in the air. The land of where retired fugitives and Jesse Pinkmans go to spend the rest of their lives to not be found. No, it tastes really clean. It's got a little citrus vibe. I'm getting, obviously, some juniper in it. I was hoping for more, like, spruce and shit, but maybe they don't even put that in there. It is really tasty, though. It's got, like, a really nice sweetness to it, which I was expecting. I mean, for a straight glass of cold gin, that's, I gotta say, it's pretty good. So what kind of people live... The things I wanted to ask, I got a couple of things here, like, what kind of people live in Alaska? Like, I just assume if you're living in Alaska, you are some kind of vagabond. You've escaped. I mean, look at where Alaska is, all right? Here's the United States. Pick out where you are, right? I'm like over here. Alaska's all the way up here, okay? So in 1867... someone in America said we should buy this big piece of shit that's all the way on the other side of Canada, completely unreachable from us, from Mother Russia. Does this make any sense? At what point does that make sense? I'm hoping one of our Alaskan guests can tell us about it, but I'm going to also guess that that may not be the case. Yeah, how do you even get there? You have to drive through Vancouver and British Columbia to get there? I guess that makes sense. And then you're up here. Okay, so, and then here's the town. So where's Juneau? Juneau's right here. I did not know this. Okay, so Juneau is right on the cusp of British Columbia, Canada, kind of close to the United States. And I think Southeast Alaska. These guys are not from Juneau. They're from somewhere else. Haines, which I think is also in that area. And then the Atlantic Salt people are going to be from this area. So we have South Alaska represented. I reached out to some Alaskan bush natives from the north, and they were not interested in my program. This we know. Yeah, definitely a regional thing. I'd love to hear a little bit about what they think. From what I could tell, like I said, I tried to reach out to the bush folk. There's like a group of people, and a lot of these states actually have like representation of like the native people of the state that, you know, we went in and pushed out a long time ago, and they have some representation still, and they try to keep their culture and heritage alive. There's people who are out in Alaska, and I reached out to them, and they were not available. They didn't want to take part in this show, so go screw yourselves, all right? Maybe that's why I got pushed around so much. That's why America took your oil, okay? What else we got here? Psychos, loners, isolationists. Which one? How is your snowmobile gas mileage, okay? Oh, they get 60 days, sometimes, I think, and they could correct me if I'm wrong here, 60 days of night and fucking 80 days of sunlight sometimes. Can you imagine 80 days of no darkness? I mean, I've always heard this, but that seems fucking madness. What the hell? 80 days of sunlight with no dark. Even if you're a hard-working man, you have to feel methed out by day 33. You just have to. It's got to be a real methy vibe. We're in every region of Alaska that goes down. That whole band of the world where that happens is very bizarre, but I just picked that up there. Dog sledding is huge. The Iditarod. Is it, though? If you live in these towns and you run this distillery, are you like checking in on Iditarod numbers? On the daily, got a fantasy Iditarod team? I don't know. We got about 20 minutes until they call in. So I have the stream live here. And when they call in, since it's going to be a couple people, it might be a little weird for a minute. I want to make sure that... I kind of want to make it so the whoever's talking's focused on, so pay attention. I mean, let's dig into some of this food. I mean, I guess let's just go at it. Let's just look at the stupid smoked salmon, because we don't have any representation for them. Alaska Smokehouse. So this is the bag that you get in the Alaska Smokehouse. The Alaska Smokehouse fish. Oh, wow. Fantasy mush is actually a real thing. Wow. Should have reached out to those guys. So, it's supposed to be wild Alaskan fish. Honestly, I'm afraid to open this. I know it's going to stink up. It's going to piss me off, but... I guess we should do it. It's fully cooked, vacuum sealed. Do not use contents if unopened. I mean, I'm drinking cold Alaskan gin. It's just the right thing to do. This is what you got to do. You got to take one for the team. You got to do it for the show. That's right, I was going to say. All right, let's do it. So I tried to find, like, the most bland-ass thing to have this with so I could really focus on it. And I just had some, like, unsalted crackers, like matzahs or whatever these are. I'm not even sure. So let's just hope this doesn't, like, stank. Hell yay! Oh, wow. All right, it smells like tuna already. Just crack the bag, smelling like tuna. Oh, God. That's pretty gross. I'm gonna have to definitely evac this bag out of the studio immediately. I mean, this is some real shit, though. I'll show it to you on the camera, don't worry. I mean, this has got whole pieces. This is like whole ass... I thought it was gonna be like lox. Or something. Oh, wow. Oh, shit. All right, so I'll show it to you on the cam here. You can see it's flaked out. It's like a whole fish. Super oily. Still intact. I mean, it smells like fish, but it doesn't smell bad. I just don't want that smell down here, so pardon me while I eat it and then evacuate that bag the fuck out of here. Pardon my language. It's a whole chunk of fish, though. I mean, there's a huge... It's like they just fucking threw fish in a bag there. Yeah, it's probably delicious. Let's go for it. Oh, yeah. All right. We got wild Alaskan salmon, smoked with... It tastes like alder or something. Mm-hmm. Okay. I feel like an Alaskan already. Surprisingly, it's not that salty. So I'm going to pull out my Alaska Sea Salt emergency salt for when you are in a pinch. And throw some on there. No. Fuck that. We're going to use this one. So they make a bunch of sea salts here. And they call them spit salts. I got a balsamic, original, smoky, rhubarb, fireweed, which is... There's a fireweed honey also. I'm not sure what the fireweed's about. And alder smoked. I'm going to go with the alder smoked salt on the fish. That just sounds right. Honestly, the fish I was expecting to be super salty. But it really is not. Smoky. But it's not. Just going to finish it with a pinch of that salt. As everything should be. and then get this bag out of here because this fish smell is just gonna drive me crazy. Okay. Wash that down with some cold gin, you know what I mean? All right, not bad. I gotta say, that's a really good product. I wish I had a better website. Alaskan Smokehouse. This is the one. Right here. From Amazon, Alaska Smokehouse, 8-ounce natural smoked fish. That's really impressive. I gotta say, the fish is definitely, I mean, it tastes wild and super salmony without being fishy. Smoky, but not too smoky. The only complaint I have is obviously it's a bag of fish, so it fucking smells like fish, but that's not really a big deal. You should expect that. If it didn't smell like fish, that might be a questionable proposition. It smells fresh. It doesn't smell rancid. It doesn't smell bad, you know? I'll wipe this plate. Let's get right back into it. Let's sweet it up. Oh. Got a lot of treats here this week. I got about 10 more minutes till they join. I got chocolate here. We'll eat the chocolate later. Let's get in the hot sauce. Hot sauce is savory. And then we'll get right into the jam. And then I'll mix the jam with the gin. So tell me about this hot sauce Barnacles. Barnacle Food. They're going to be on here later, I think. They're friends with the guys from Alaska Salt. Here it is. Bullwhip Kelp Hot Sauce. Bullwhip is the local name for our favorite type of kelp. Bull kelp. All right. Abundant in Alaska, kelp packs unmatched savory flavor and amazing nutrition. Vitamin and minerals, it has it all. Flavor first, heat second, a deep savory flavor from the kelp paired with the heat from the piri piri. Ignite your taste buds. Ooh. Ooh, wow. A lot of garlic. Cherry, tomato, I mean. Oh, yeah, that's good. Smells good. So I love me some hot sauce, so let's get in here. This looks really nice. It's a nice color. Alaskan bull kelp, water, organic vinegar, organic tomato, vegetable oil, garlic, salt, piri piri, xanthan gum. Whoa! Oh, big pour. Oh! I got a little clip on it. Oh, wow, yeah, it's definitely got like a sea. Woo! Okay! It's definitely got like a sea vibe. That kelp definitely comes through. The kelp has like a saltwater, like a seawater taste to it, but it's not like a seawater, hot sauce. So you wouldn't want to name it that. Kelp hot sauce is accurate. You know how like you have like a seaweed salad at a sushi place? It's like reminiscent of that. It is not that. It is reminiscent of that. We'll go to heat from the piri piri. I wonder if they grow those or what. I thought that was like a style of hot sauce, not necessarily a specific pepper. But let's see. Piri piri pepper. It is a specific type of pepper. Okay. Petty petty. Yeah. Well, that's a goddamn good hot sauce. It's got some really good heat, but it's hanging around. It's fresh. It doesn't taste like, I don't know how old this is, but it tastes fresh. It's not too greasy. It's got the tomato is a really good sweetness with it. Really good balance. And if it is flavor first, I agree 100% with it. Flavor first, everything else kind of second. But that seaweed vibe that's there, again, it doesn't taste like seaweed. It just has this like umami bomb. That's an interesting one. That's a goddamn good hot sauce. Good job, guys. All right, let's get into jams and make a cocktail with these. Also from Barnacle Food, Alaskan rhubarb jam and Alaskan spruce tip jelly. Rhubarb jam, spruce tip jelly. Just looking for the... Here we go. Start with the rhubarb jam. Tart and fruity rhubarb. That's the spruce tip. Tart and fruity rhubarb make for a spreadable addition to a variety of dishes. Top vanilla ice cream toast. Used with poultry is spread and bake on salmon. You guys are getting crazy up in Alaska. It doesn't smell particularly sweet. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Rhubarb, sugar, pectin. I like that. Let's go in first at the end here. Nice texture on this. You want to see it? Yeah. I need a better camera scene for this. It's a jam. I mean, I don't know what you want to see. It's a fucking jam. You know, it doesn't look pretty, but we want to know how it tastes. I mean, that tastes like you put rhubarb in a bottle. I definitely would like to stir that into some gin and some ice and perhaps some soda water. Let's try the spruce tip jelly. Wow, the rhubarb jam is actually really good. I don't need a lot of rhubarb. I do like rhubarb, so I can't really speak to what it's like fresh to have one. I can't remember what last time I had a good rhubarb pie. Definitely reminds me of that without being too sweet. Here's the spruce tip jelly. Look at that. Look at that texture there. Oh, yeah. Oh, we're going right in with that. What are we doing? We're going to pour that. Oh, I guess right now. Spruce tip and gin coming right up. That sounds like a great cocktail to have when these kids join us. Or men or women or whatever they are that we're partying with. Well, they should be joining any minute if they haven't already. They have not. That just means I'm getting a cocktail ready. Yum, yum, yum. All right. Well, that's sticky. I hate having messes everywhere. I feel like this should probably just be drank like that. Keep this clean, you know? A little bubble in there, you know what I'm saying? So this is a cocktail I'm sure has been done before. Did you invent the Alaskan martini? No, but I guess I could. I don't think mixing jam into gin is a new thing. That's been done before. Those have names. That has a name. I don't know what it's called, but that has a name. And it is a tasty thing. This is spruce jam, Alaskan spruce jelly with 50 Fathoms Gin, and then I just put a splash of soda on there. And we're going to see how much spruce is in there and if we need more. Now, I would put a little salty component in there. You're going to make a martini. Maybe just a dash of the salt. You know, like their alder smoked salt. And a pinch of honey or something. Oh boy, here comes a guest. All right, let's see. Admit. Yes, I will admit. Garrett Montgomery. Let's make sure everything's working here. Is that Garrett?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Hold on. Let me make sure I can hear you. Let me pull you up here a little bit in the mix. Sorry, I got music going and everything. Can you see me? Can you hear me all right?
I can do both. How you doing?
Good, dude. How are you? Let me just make sure I got you going here on the on the old video. Cool, dude. There you are. You can't see it, but it looks cool. I got the Alaskan flag behind you. It looks cool.
Oh, sweet. Right on.
What's going on, dude? So you are Garrett from Port. I don't even want to pronounce it. I've been saying Chilkoot.
Yeah, that's correct. Port Chilkoot Distillery.
Oh, man, I am good.
Got it.
All right, so, I mean, we've been tasting some delicious things here from Alaska so far. And did I tell you the guys from Alaska Salt should be joining any minute?
Oh, fantastic. That's great.
So I don't know if you know them. I don't know how far you guys are, but we could get into it. So, you know, I don't know. I talked briefly to Heather. I didn't talk to you, and she had to bail. And she sent you to come chat. So it's cool. You said you run the tasting room there, correct?
Yep. Make all the drinks, do all the fun stuff in here, make sure things taste good, and you know got the gin.
Oh,
right
look at
here,
this! Look at this! It's like we're brothers. This is great. I got it too. I just had it on its own. I chilled it down and just had it on ice, and it was super delicious. And now I just mixed it with some of this Barnacle Alaskan spruce tip jelly.
Nice.
Just mix that straight, just to get a little pure Alaska vibe. And I gotta say, it's pretty good.
Cheers.
Cheers, indeed, buddy. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the tasting. Well, I guess I pulled up the map before. Where exactly is the distillery? It's in Haines, Alaska.
Haines, Alaska. Yeah, so we're about 75 miles north of Juneau, and one of the 3 towns in southeast Alaska that are accessed by the road system. We're actually in the old historic Fort Stewart area, old military base. And we're actually, Heather and Sean, the owners, renovated the old bakery of from the fort. Started in 2012. You know, raised it up, rebuilt everything, and began distilling that year. So, they've come a long way in the past 7 or so years.
7 years you guys been doing it up there?
Yeah.
What's it like? What's it like in Hayes? Is it? I'm assuming the locals love having a distillery there. Is there a distillery scene? Are you guys one of the only people in the area doing that kind of thing?
So yeah, in Haines, we're the only distillery here. Skagway, which is right across the inlet, they're about 17 miles away, but accessed by a road that's 350 miles through Canada or 17 miles on a ferry. They have Skagway distilling, and also Juneau has Amalga. They do some gin and whiskey as well. And they're down in Juneau. Those are the only distilleries in Southeast. I think there's one opening up in Ketchikan, if I'm not mistaken, or Sitka, one of the two.
So when I was researching a little bit about what I could find, so every state I'm trying to find some what I'm considering iconic food and drink of the state, like what's a representative thing. Here we go.
Right.
Hold on one second. We're gonna join in now. We're gonna have looks like Brittany from I think either Alaska Salt or Barnacle Foods is on. I'm not sure. Brittany. Anyway, let me ask, are you there?
Yeah, we have Brittany and Casey from Alaska Salt.
Brittany, Casey, what's up? I'm talking to Garrett from Port Chilkoot Distillery. This is exciting. I have multiple guests from Alaska. Guys, thanks so much for joining. This is super cool. Can you see me, hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Let me just ask one more thing to Garrett before we go to you guys for a second. Garrett, the gin that I found, like I was saying, we're looking for like iconic stuff from each state, right? So this was one of the only things I could find that seemed, one, I could get easily out here in New Jersey, and two, what makes it uniquely Alaskan outside of it being 50 Feather Gin that looks like there's a huge fish on it and it's obviously distilled there. I read a little bit about the botanicals that are in it, but is there anything else that makes it specifically Alaskan that you would say?
Yeah, so we actually throw some of the spruce tips in there, which I got right here. Spruce tips, we usually harvest them in the spring. They're little buds on the end of spruce tips, and they have a nice citrus, like mildly berry aroma to them. They're only sprouting for a very short period of time in the spring, and we go out and harvest a ton of them and freeze them, and we have a whole chest freezer full of them. Everyone goes out for a week, and it's spruce tip harvesting time, so that gets thrown in our gin, and we make syrups for some of our cocktails, which is super nice, and it has this really great body to the drinks.
That's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I definitely get like traditional gin vibes from it. I get like the juniper and the coriander and all that stuff, but there is some other things in there that like I haven't tasted in gins that I've had before. So those spruce tips probably a big part of that, I'm sure. Maybe.
And Heather and Sean's their family has a tangerine farm down in California, and that's another component to it as well. So that citrus melds with somewhat of the citrus of the spruce, and it just makes a really nice medley of flavor.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Hey guys. So it's just automatically switching back and forth. So you could see me and stuff like that. I'll let my Alaska Salt people.
Yeah.
My screen's all weird over here, so it's whoever's talking. It shows me. That's cool. So hey guys, tell me a little bit about Alaska Salt. I've been eating some of this stuff and chatting through it, but I'm sure you could tell me a little about yourselves and where you're from in Alaska, and let's go from there. What's going on in Alaska right now?
It is sunny and melting snow outside.
Is it constantly snowing up there? I mean, from being from New Jersey and Alaska, you just assume it's constantly snow covered up there.
No, it depends on where you live in Alaska.
Yeah, living right by the ocean like we do, it's very temperate, and it's a terrible freeze-thaw cycle right now.
What area, not to give away where you live, but what area are you guys operating out of, I guess? I'm just looking at a map.
Yeah, we're in a town called Homer on the Kenai Peninsula. It's
Homer.
like south central.
Okay. Yeah, like it's interesting to see where everyone is. So you guys are all generally in the south side of Alaska, for, you know, lack of a better term for me.
I could like show you outside really quick.
Yeah, for sure.
It's sunny. We're just at home. It's too sunny.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm jealous of your sun right now. We've been covered in overcast clouds and a ton of rain.
How far away are you guys from each other right now, generally? I mean, I'm sure I could pull on a map, but you probably know.
Yeah, where are you at in
I'm on Haines. What are we, like 800 or 900 miles away or something like that?
Nice.
Wow.
It's a big state.
It's such a huge state. You're so far away from the rest of the states. You're like the foster children of the United States or something. You know, it's like, it's so strange.
Alaska and Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you guys are just disconnected. But I was looking at the map before just to see it. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I never looked because I was never trying to drive into Alaska. But you'd have to drive through Vancouver and British Columbia, and then you'd be in the bottom boot there. And I guess it's not that far. You know, just to touch base.
It's pretty far.
Well, I mean, to touch base in what's considered Alaska, you know, it's not that bad. But to get where you guys are would definitely be.
I used to live in Texas, and I thought, you know, people driving 5, 7, 10 hours was normal. Here, it's like, oh, you know, 14, 15, 16 is just the norm. Getting, you know, from Fairbanks to here or Fairbanks to wherever it's pretty wild.
That's crazy. So that's like kind of part of the culture out there. Which is, again, that's like another thing. I mean, we could talk about each one of these products individually, and I'm sure we will. But, like, what's it like being in that south side of Alaska? Let me ask you this first. How many different, like, parts of Alaska would you say that there is? Like, in New Jersey, and I always use it as an example, there's, like, north, central, and south, right? And if you're from New Jersey, they're pretty identifiable differences, right? Would you say in Alaska that the people in the super north are different than the people in the south? Would you say that there's, like, a huge difference? Is it a multifaceted state in that respect?
For sure. I think a big difference is like coastal versus interior.
Okay.
For one. And then just most of the people live in the southern part, like Anchorage, Homer, Kenai. Then you got southeast, which is like rainforesty. So yeah, there's a lot of different areas.
Is anyone out in the dead center of Alaska, like this big barren?
Yeah, that's like Fairbanks neighborhood.
Okay, yeah, I see it there. I'm looking at a map. So.
City.
Crazy. So is it true, I'll ask both of you guys this, is it true that I read that if you get into Juneau, that there's like technically no roads out of Juneau?
That's
correct.
What is the idea behind that? Has it just always been that way, or is that just the bit? Like, what is? So if I fly into Juneau, how do I leave? I need an airplane to get out of there.
Airplane or a boat.
Is that due to like landscape concerns, or like what? Is it just by design? What's the bit with that?
It's got to be landscape. I've actually never been to Juneau.
It's just something I read. I like just have like some weird facts that I was reading, and I was like, wow, that's really strange.
Yeah, there's a few towns in Southeast Alaska like that.
Right.
It's that way as well.
Huh.
Yeah, like Skagway and us are fortunate. I mean, that we have a road system, but we don't have an international airport where they can fly big jets. But Juneau, Sitka, and Kenai both, or not Kenai, but Ketchikan both all have, where big Alaska Airlines airplanes can fly in. So they have the perk, even though no roads. They
right.
can get to Seattle in 2 hours real quick.
So like flopping around, how often, I guess, so, and again, I want to get into the food and drink angle. So like from each of where you guys are at between Homer and where Chilkoot is, like I guess the question would be like this. What would it be like to go out for a night? I guess pre-COVID. I don't know what the COVID scene is like out there now, but obviously we look all pretty healthy and happy for the most part, which is good. But like, what was it like, and is it different now? Like going out to a restaurant or something for the night, a night out on the town or something like that. Like, what's it like in the town where you're from? Because I think it's decisively different, at least from where we are.
Probably so.
Live in like a little tourist town that's like a common destination for people who are traveling to Alaska. So where we actually harvest our salt from is called the Homer Spit. And I don't know if you read about that at all.
No, is that why it's called spit salt? I was wondering that.
That is why. So that's kind of like a tourist attraction in itself, and it's a 5-mile jut of land that goes straight out into the water. It holds our harbor and like lots of retail stores and restaurants. So really mostly in the summer, and a lot of that closes down in the wintertime. But in our town, that's definitely a hub for like where a lot of really delicious local food is had. It's a pretty cool spot.
But to answer your question, things are definitely different
Because of COVID.
because of COVID.
Restrictions on dining and generally gatherings and things like that, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
there's not a whole lot of like mandates, but people are just not going out.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the kind of the similar. I mean, there's definitely mandates out here, but the same thing. People want to be safe,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing. So the spit salt, which I'm digging on, I tried the alder one before, and I'm excited to try the birch one. But I see that the honey I have is also fireweed, and the salt is fireweed. What's up with the fireweed out in Alaska?
Ooh, well, at least around here, we have a ton of fireweed. I don't know if you've ever seen fireweed.
I don't even know what fireweed is.
It's like, it's a pretty tall, like 5-6 foot plant that in the August neighborhood blooms like a really beautiful crimson purpley color. And like just fields of it. It's really beautiful. But you get the honey because they're able to plant the bees in the fireweed fields, and that's what they forage on. And then we harvest the petals and make like a simple syrup out of it and infuse it into our salts, and it gives it that beautiful color.
Yeah, it's
and,
really nice, like
the fun
crimson.
little floral hints of floral smell, and it's a fun like cocktail rimmer, and it's just kind of a fun salt. Yeah, and fireweed's just so iconic. It's hard not to try and do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's great because, I just tried the honey. It's pretty good. It has like a weird fruitiness to it. I guess maybe that's like kind of from the fireweed. I dig it. And the salt definitely is like a beautiful like crimson color, which is super cool. What else we got? We have got some that hot sauce I tried before was pretty damn good.
From Barnacle?
Yeah, the kelp hot
love their hot
sauce.
sauce.
Oh, it's so good. I didn't know what to expect, but it was like it had this like umami thing going on, and it was really good. Good heat, great flavor. I was a big fan of that.
Which one did you get?
I have the old bullwhip.
Oh, is that the one aged in our bourbon barrels?
Doesn't say anything about bourbon barrels, but why didn't I get that one? How come no one told me about that one?
I got one of those, and that stuff's good. I didn't know it was your bourbon barrel. That's cool.
Yeah,
It's
they
really
did it.
good.
It's
I
pretty
really like it.
tasty. We did a Bloody Mary bar for New Year's, and we had to put that in the Bloody Marys. It was pretty tasty.
This would be a great Bloody Mary sauce. You're right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's got great heat. The kelp though is super interesting because it's like it gives like this. I was saying it's almost like a seaweed salad, but not like that sounds unattractive. But it's like it has that like umami bomb that like you don't really expect from a hot sauce. Usually, like at least the ones out here that people make, are like they always do like a big fruit backbone. There's always like a pineapple or a mango involved to like offset the heat. But the tomato use and the vinegar use in this is pretty cool. I dig it. You guys are doing cool stuff up in Alaska. I like it. So what kind of food do you guys eat up there that is, I guess, iconic of the area? Like, I guess restaurant food, or what would you cook that would be like something, a normal dish that you would make at home? Like out here in New Jersey, New York, people make spaghetti meatballs, stuff like that. Like, obviously, I'm sure you guys make something like that, but is there any kind of like regional things in Alaska that like we wouldn't be privy to unless you were hanging out there? Some like old family stuff? Is there anything like that?
What type of crab do y'all get up there? We get a ton of Dungeness up here.
Down where I am?
You talk about
Oh
Homer?
no, where y'all are at.
We get tanners that we can go catch.
I love Tanner crab.
Tanners are the best. But yeah, I would say like we're heavy on the seafood.
Of course, being right on the
Or, like,
water.
halibut, salmon.
Probably fantastic. I got some smoked salmon from some smokehouse there in Aiden, and it was super delicious. It wasn't like it didn't make me go, wow, this is Alaska, but it was really damn tasty.
Yeah, for sure.
Ribs, salmon, and moose.
Moose.
Lots of moose this year for us.
Yeah, as far as like locals go, you won't find that in a restaurant here. But
Right. We got to go hunting. They're out there. It's a lot of meat, so probably good, healthy meat, too.
Yeah.
What kind of like preparations do you guys do? Like some kind of like cookout? Like I'm thinking, from what I know about, I mean, if you're going to be in a snowy area, especially down by the water and stuff like that, I'm thinking like beachfront cookouts in snow, using snow and stuff like that. Is there anything like that going on out there?
I want to like feed your imagination
Please.
with that story, but it wouldn't be true.
Oh, dude, feed my imagination.
Yeah, that's like a little igloo.
No, you know what I mean? Like it sounds like what am I thinking? I'm thinking of like a clam bake down in like, I don't know, one of those states where they do that, where they bury bags.
Louisiana.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like a Louisiana clam bake. I'm thinking you guys should doing that up in Alaska, just using kelp and some
really should.
some fireweed, and then when it's ready, ice it all down with the snow, and you're ready to go. I'll give you guys that. That's from me. You guys can set that up and sell tickets.
Start a new trend.
That's a good one. I mean, it only makes sense to me. You got the snow there, the coastal beauty. I got to make my way up to Alaska.
Really pretty. You should.
I mean, I'd love to. Can I fly up there now? I don't think I can. They have a travel ban?
I think along with what you're thinking, one of my favorite things that happens here, which is probably in any coastal area, but the best way to eat any seafood is when you catch it and then fillet it and grill it on the boat, like before it ever comes back to land. That's like you have to be here to experience that, and it just doesn't get
Like that's the freshest it could possibly be. Yeah, that's like an experience. Like when people go hunting and they eat the animal that they killed, like right there. It's like it's like a spiritual experience almost, because one, it tastes so good, and two, it's you're taking part in it right there. There's nothing. It's from your hand to your mouth, and it's like that's a special thing. That's super cool and delicious, which helps. So you guys are spoiled by great seafood. Seems like you have a distilling on your hands, at least in certain areas. Over in Homer, do you guys have distilleries over there? Is craft beer a thing over there? Like, I'm all right with beers, but like out by me, at least, there's so many craft breweries. I wonder if like states are being taken over by that. Is that a thing that like is even popping up on radar out there?
Yeah, we've got 2 breweries, no distilleries in Homer.
You have a winery, don't you?
And we do have a winery.
A winery? You guys growing grapes out in Alaska?
It's mostly berries.
Wow.
Berry wines, and they must buy grapes because I know it's mixed. But,
Right.
They use berries from around here, and that's their thing.
There's a
Wow.
lot of wild raspberries and blueberries that grow well here. And then rhubarb is another.
I got that rhubarb jam, which was also super delicious. I'm going to put that in my next little gin drink here. I was just mixing these jams in with gin, and I was like, well, that's a pretty pure Alaskan treat, I think.
There it is, yeah.
I thought so. Alaskan rhubarb jam, made in Alaska with gin made in Alaska. I forgot a glass, so I'm drinking out of a beaker with some ice from New Jersey. I mean, I got to cut it with something. I mean, that's pretty uniquely Alaskan, I think. And then I got, so you said you got a couple breweries out there by you, and by Chilkoot, is there any breweries up by you? I know by me, whenever one distillery or brewery pops up, like 100 pop up around it because it's zoned for that and stuff like that. But is that something that happens out there, or is it a little bit more? I'm trying to like envision, like, is it more rural in these areas? Are these like, what's the distance between places? Like the East Coast and up and down the East Coast, it's either the land of mini malls or like big cities. I don't imagine that any part of Alaska is like that.
No, it's pretty small here. Like Main Street is, the Main Street has the brewery and the hotel and the grocery store. It's pretty small, but we do have one pretty badass brewery. It is fantastic. They make a ton of good beer. And yeah, we're really fortunate to have them, having the distillery and the brewery, pretty top notch.
What brewery is that?
It's called Haynes Brewing Company.
Haynes Brewing.
Yep, they do a really good job.
See, I feel like every show I do with this for a state, I feel like, now I got to go check out the state. I got to get to Alaska now and go check out this brewery and hang out. And then,
Worth it.
yeah, I mean, it definitely is worth it. I mean, obviously I'm doing this because I'm interested in all these states. I'm not just doing it because, this is great. Like I said, the other thing I did, the idea of the show was to like talk to people from these states. And guys, thank you both for showing up, and if you want to leave, you can leave anytime. I don't want you to feel like you're a hostage, obviously. But like, it's so cool for me to talk to people like you guys, because like I would love to travel, and like this whole last year was zero travel. Not like I was traveling all the time, but like I love going out to bars, like hanging out, having a drink, and talking to people locally. And I never got to do that all year, so it's like something that's really lacking. So even last week when I was talking to the dude from Alabama, he was great, and like he knew so much stuff, and you guys are great, you know so much stuff. So it's cool to just like connect with people and talk about your areas and stuff. Especially you guys, you got businesses you're working on, and you're passionate about it. That's super great. So I'm stoked to talk to you guys. So blessings to you guys. Thank you so much for joining. What else can you tell me about Alaska? What is a common misconception? I guess is a good question about Alaska. That, like I said, I was like, hey, is it snowing all the time there? You know, that's what people probably just assume. Do you get this in the south side of Alaska where you guys are, for lack of a better term? Do you guys get that like 60, 80-day period of nighttime? Do you get the full 80 days of sun like they do in other areas, I think, of Alaska?
No, we don't. We're in the same latitude, aren't we? In Homer?
From the map, it looks like it, yeah.
Pretty similar.
Yeah, like it does, you know, it does in December, it does get pretty dark. It's like the sun rises at like 9 a.m. and sets at like 2:33-ish, actually getting dark. But
in the afternoon? Wow, that's weird. Yeah, but there's other parts North Alaska, right, that shut down. You're talking multiple days of light and dark.
Pretty much non-existent up super north in Nukjavik and things like that.
That's so weird. That's just
pretty nuts.
That's so strange even to like think about. I feel like you have to be a different.
But man, the summers are awesome.
What's the weather like? What's the weather like where you guys are out in the summer there? Like, what's it like in a June, July?
For the light, for one thing, you know, you got 20 hours of light in a day, so
you got long ass days, which
really
is nice.
Feel that energy.
Yeah.
You find out it's midnight, and you don't really.
You have no
feel
idea,
like it's
right?
midnight.
Does it get dark by midnight in the summer?
Never really.
In the middle of summer, it's like twilight is as dark as it gets.
It gets twilight by midnight. I would feel like methed out or something. I'd feel weird.
It's weird.
It's got to be weird. Are you guys all born and raised Alaskans?
Nope.
Nope.
All transports. You said you're from Texas, right, Garrett? Where are you guys from?
Yep.
I'm from lots of places.
Okay.
But I mostly grew up in Colorado.
Okay, cool. I got a brother out in Colorado. That's cool. All right, so you guys at least you're aware of like the differences of places like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what brought you up to Alaska? Just to start making your own salt up there, or just the natural beauty of Alaska and get the hell away from everybody else?
I had visited here and I just fell in love with Homer. I think it's a really common story. And
Yeah.
I had in college just moved out for one summer only to stay, and then I never left. And I just love it here. And then now, yeah, we met, got married, and my folks moved up here and here to stay.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, especially states like everyone I talk to who, whenever they leave a state and they go somewhere else and they got half of a mind to be like, I don't know if I need to live where I'm at. They're like, I love this place, I'm leaving. Alaska sounds like one of those places you go and you could just easily fall in love with it and be like, yeah, let's just go to Alaska.
It is, and I think what draws me to this place the most is the really extreme seasons with the daylight and the weather. And it, like, we used to commercial fish together. Now we have our business, our summers we're hustling, and so it's a tourist community in the summertime, and then in the winter you kind of slow down and hibernate and sleep more. And I really like that lifestyle of the changing seasons instead of having kind of a monotonous pattern.
So as far as the salt company goes, you guys make the salt, is you two and your team or whoever else you got working on it?
The earth makes the salt.
Yes, fair.
We can't take credit for that.
That's fair.
But we just kind of snatch it out of the ocean and put it in jars and monetize.
That's fair. I mean, what better way to do it? So you use local Alaskan water to Homer, I'm guessing, or at least wherever you operate the business. And is it as easy as just getting it out there, letting it dry out, and then just kind of mixing it up, into whatever combos that you're looking to make?
Yeah, it's a fairly simple process. There's like some technique to it, but it's just a matter of drying out the water, essentially.
Right,
and
packaging it up and making it look nice.
Yeah.
If you're just curious, what made y'all decide to do salt?
Yeah, good story, or good question. The story goes, so when I was fishing, I commercial fished for a long time, and just you have to clean the windows like every day. And it occurred to me that even on like nice days where it's not raining, but you might be splashing, you're still cleaning this white stuff off your window all the time, and that it was salt. And that was the first kind of idea. The idea just spawned on me to try and make some, just to see.
Fair.
And then so started messing around with it, and it was the second surprise was like how much salt is in the water, for one thing. And just kind of one idea led to the next, and
Now you got a salt company.
yeah, and it's awesome. It's kind of one of those ideas. It's like, why isn't anyone doing this yet? Like, what am I missing?
I mean, it makes so much sense. Like, when I was looking at what to get for the show, smoked salmon was like kind of one of the only things I could find right away. I don't know why or how. And I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. I mean, they probably smoke fish up there. Cool. And then let me find some booze. I was like, oh, it's hard to get a distiller to send stuff to New Jersey, but I finally got it. And then like, was it a week or two ago? I was like, I was looking up Alaska stuff. I saw Alaska salt. I was like, how did I not think Alaska's making salt? They have all this like pure, amazing water. Someone's making salt up there. I don't know how that didn't even hit me. But yeah, I'm glad I got it. I mean, I use a lot of different salts. I cook a lot, and I use a lot of different grains of salt. So I'm super stoked to have like all these different salts to play with, because I do enjoy using a variety of salts, especially some beautiful Alaskan handmade, hand-harvested sea salts. Well, hand-harvested, not handmade, right?
Yeah.
It's been really fascinating to learn about it. Salt's such an interesting ingredient that has an incredible world history, and it's an ingredient that's easily overlooked, I think, by common chefs, and it's just one of those things that's worth paying a little more for an ingredient that really changes your food.
I agree. I mean, I recently started using a lot less of it, not for health reasons, just to kind of make the same dishes that I would make and use less. And it really lets you, when you do that, like at home in the home kitchen, and then you try your food that doesn't have salt, it does two things. It lets you really taste the ingredient on its own, and then you realize how much the salt helps certain things and other things it doesn't. So like I find I don't need to use as much when I cook as I thought, and I also find that I use more to finish now instead of actually cook with. So my cooking, I generally use a little bit less. Again, not for health reasons, although I'm sure that's good for a lot of people who have health reasons, because I think the flavor's better. So like the focus on the vegetables or the meat or whatever is really concentrated and focused just on that, and then finishing it with like a larger, coarser grained salt really lets you experience the salt better. Some of these like big chunks, like the Maldon or like this black lava salt I have, it adds like a texture to dishes that you don't get with like a normal kosher salt. And yours has some really nice texture to it too, so I'm excited to use some of this stuff. This is great.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's how I like to use it too.
Salt is fun.
Yeah, it's even great in cocktails. Just an extra, just a drop or two of saline solution will really bring out a ton of different flavors, or just really enhance the ones that are already there.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Using like a 2% saline solution, like even a dropper of it in shaken or stirred cocktails, right? Really highlights everything.
Yep.
So what else are you guys making over at Chilkoot that's great? I got the gin because it seemed like the most iconic kind of like Alaskan spiced / vibed thing. But what else do you got going over there that's a party? That's an Alaskan party, I guess.
Yeah, we have our gin, our vodka, and we actually did a moonshine for our first run back in late 2012, early 2013. And also we produce a bourbon, a rye, and also a whiskey, and an absinthe as well.
And yeah, you guys are doing it all up there.
Do it all, and we're working on a rum too, but we'll see when it comes out. It's looking pretty good.
Do you guys use the same kind of base spirit and then just kind of flavor it differently for like the vodka and the gin maybe, and then change it up, or is it everyone's has got its own thing?
Yeah, so for those, yes, it's like that with the neutral grain spirit, and then but the whiskey, it's
gotta be
whiskey,
different.
the bourbon, and the rye. They all have their different mash bills, and
Do you guys use traditional kind of like corn, wheat, rye vibe, or do you guys do some other crazy Alaskan business going on up there?
Yeah, so
Throwing pounds of fireweed in there and calling it Alaskan crazy fireweed bourbon?
Yeah, just the traditional stuff for all the whiskeys.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm assuming there's not a lot of grain growing up there, but.
No, but for the herbs for the absinthe, though, we get those grown up here. Like the lemon balm and the wormwood are both grown up here for us by some local farmers, so that's pretty cool.
Nice. Local Alaskan wormwood. Does it make you see the green fairy like they all say? Have you tried it?
I plead the fifth.
I think it just gets you drunk because it's very high proof. I've tried it and I was like, I don't know, it's doing something, but
no hallucinations there.
yeah, it's doing something, but I'm not quite sure what. I haven't seen a green fairy yet, but
Yeah, no, that 110 proof is something else.
yeah, that'll set you down.
Yes, it will.
So, I mean, let's see. We covered a lot of stuff here. What else in Alaska? I mean, again, is there any kind of like iconic kind of foods? I know we talked about like food stuffs like that, but is there like a dish that you would think represents Alaska well? You know, would it just be that kind of fresh fish right out of the ocean, just eaten all natural, like, or would it be the crabs? You know, would that be the thing? Like, what would it be if there was like a state dish? I guess
King crab, just straight up king.
straight up king crab. Yeah. That sounds
This
right.
is maybe a silly question, but for you guys in Homer, do you have a ton of restaurants, or even a restaurant that sells really good seafood?
We have a bunch of really good
Many.
restaurants.
We have none that sell good seafood.
Really?
At least this year. This year is really, really rough for us.
Yeah, this
We
year
only
has
have
been
5 restaurants anyway, but
been
the
tough.
one that serves stuff is closed, and then all the other ones, like there's one that does, like fish and chips, but not the best fish and chips. So
It's probably better than the fish and chips I get here, though. I'm betting that it's better than the fish I can get here. You just have a higher caliber of fish and chips, probably overall.
no, for sure, yeah, high expectations.
So, like, when you guys go to like a fish spot up there, is it like, I'm trying to compare it to like a fish spot that would be here? Like most places out here, like New Jersey, New York, the fish places are like, higher end, fancy kind of like composed dishes. Is that kind of what it's like there, or do you have like a mix? Is it more kind of like, dockside dining kind of vibe? Rolls, smash a crab with a hammer kind of thing.
I've never found anything cheap in Alaska.
Interesting. I mean, it's everything.
It's expensive, but not fine dining.
Everything
Yeah,
probably.
and there's no fine dining, but it is expensive.
I would have to think that there's an inherent cost just to get stuff up there. Like the cost of things is probably a little bit higher. The manufacturing's a little lower. So if you're at a restaurant and I'm thinking about all the stuff I got to bring in there, the cost is higher. I'm guessing. I don't know if that's true.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you I haven't had cereal pretty much in the past long time because it's like $7 for a gallon of milk, and like Captain Crunch is like $6 a box. It's like
Really?
cereal. Yeah, and I don't have that big of a place to store that stuff, so that's kind of low on the list.
So I guess there's no cow. These are the things I just never thought about. So yeah, you got no cows like locally. The closest cows to you is like what, California maybe?
Most likely.
So truck it out up there. You got a shelf life. There's a lot of costs on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, grains. That's the thing. Like you could grow all these herbs. You could grow your own local wormwood, but you can't get any wheat to make some alphabets.
Nope, no, you can't.
Interesting. You see, this is stuff you never think about. So you sit and talk about it. That makes total sense, though. But the rest,
we should invest.
there you go. We'll just make some of those big warehouse farms, those hydroponic farms, and start growing wheat. Do some local Alaskan cereals or something.
That is something that is really common where we live. Is high tunnels are emerging, so lots of. I mean, they're kind of near. I feel like in 10 years from now, we're gonna have like fruit orchards in Homer in high tunnels.
I mean, I have to say, like, even just seeing the wide variety of stuff that you guys offered on your website, between the spruce tip jelly, which makes sense. I was like, okay, Alaska's got spruce tips. Like, I'm not surprised that exists. Rhubarb, I was like, wow, they're growing rhubarb up there. Because, again, I just had this vision that it's so cold, nothing's growing, right? But you got rhubarb, and I'm sure they're growing that inside somewhere. And then the honey, I was like, all right, so they got bees going out there somewhere. And then all the stuff that you guys are adding into the salts and stuff like that. And I saw all the other stuff I didn't even get on the site. I was like, wow. There's obviously some kind of growing scene going on there, and obviously people need to grow things locally to sustain. You can't just import everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if those kind of warehouse, high tunnel kind of things start popping up in more desolate areas, especially as they get cheaper relatively, as the technology gets
We
better.
actually have an awesome growing season. So it's like a more compact growing season, but with so much daylight in the summer, things grow really fast. So rhubarb actually grows like weeds outside in your front yard. So
Wow.
like everywhere.
Really?
And then lots of berries and things like that as well.
Yeah, you said a lot of wild raspberries and blueberries and stuff like that. They're probably super delicious too, because they probably get so much sunlight.
Oh, they're great.
Oh man, I want some great fruit. Jealous. We don't have great stuff here in New Jersey. They say we have great tomatoes, but that's really a lie. I haven't found any. There's only some great New Jersey tomatoes, and they're really few and far between. But Jersey tomatoes.
It's a really thriving, healthy farmers market. Like I think once it's a short season.
Sure.
But even without the use of high tunnels, like we have a fantastic vegetable market to pick from.
How many months out of the year are you able to go hit that?
Like 4 or 5.
That's pretty good. And then
another interesting thing about Homer in particular is, and like the Palmer Wasilla area north of Anchorage, we're really known for peonies here, like the flower peonies. Grow very, very well here. They're like a really hardy plant that winters well, and then they thrive in like the long daylight hours. So there's actually like a really rich farming community here.
Interesting, given the seasons and the weather and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these farmers that I guess at least you chatted with, they in the off season, are they doing like a high tunnel thing? Are they doing like a greenhouse thing just to keep something going, or they just take the couple months off and chill out?
Yeah, it's just seasonal. There's so many seasonal industries. Like the really dramatic climate here like forces industries into being super seasonal that way. Like with fisheries, farming, and then tourism. I mean, there's so much.
And it basically all just happens in the summer.
And your summer, is it like my summer? Is it like April, May, June? I guess May, June to like September? Is that summer-ish for you?
Yeah, pretty much. Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah, Memorial Day, Labor Day. Yeah. Wow. Crazy. Make me want to come out to Alaska and hang out now. Damn.
Come up. It's a good place. You may never leave, so be careful.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Well, apparently if I find a Juneau, I got to find out how to get the hell to Juneau first, and then I got to get back there. So is I guess like speaking of that, like those small puddle jumper kind of planes, that's like a common thing up there, or is helicopters a thing? If you're trying to hop around, is that super common?
Little planes you can get, like if you wanted to get to Homer and you wanted to fly all the way, you could do it pretty easily.
Right. You're just at the airport and you're like, you guys got
You fly to Anchorage, then you can fly down to Homer. It costs you a couple $100 round trip extra.
Right.
But
all right, so it's almost like, it sounds like Alaska's almost like the Caribbean, flying to like the central hub, and then you kind of hop out where you want to go on a little plane or something if you're trying to go to a smaller island. Winter
If you're going to come, you should come at summer solstice. I think that's the most interesting time of year to travel here.
Why is that?
Well, that's the longest day of the year, summer solstice, so June 21st. And it's just magical to, you're like outside at midnight in the daylight.
There's just a lot of energy. The fish are running. There's like lots of stuff to do.
You said that twice. That makes me so excited. Like you said energy twice there. That just means that there's like this great vibe in Alaska. And I can feel it from you guys. It's super cool. So that really is awesome to like hear and feel.
All let's talk about is making me excited. I want the sun to come back.
Oh yeah.
I can't come around quick enough.
Poor Garrett's just sitting in the tasting room waiting for someone to come in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Come on, bring this man some fish and chips. Let me ask you this: where you guys are in the south, again, I just keep saying the south side of Alaska. I don't know if that's an accurate term or not, but at least on the southern, tip, is that somewhere where you guys can see the northern lights at times from there, or are you too far away from where that actually hits?
Occasionally, yeah.
I always want to see
I
that.
haven't seen them this year yet. I haven't been looking that hard either.
I feel like that's something I always wanted to see. So I was like, oh, maybe I gotta go to Alaska and see that. But I guess if you wanted to see that, you gotta go deep and murky waters.
You're guaranteed.
better chance.
Go into like Fairbanks, yeah.
Yeah.
But we have all of where we live, everything is like, we have all south-facing windows because that's where the view of Kachemak Bay is, and it's pretty and sunny.
Yeah, I mean, it seems beautiful. I see the sun flying in there. I mean, it looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems great there.
So we do miss out on the I think some friends of ours have a property where they see the northern lights a lot, and it's north-facing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. I guess it's all about, your view and how high up you are and stuff like that.
And you just gotta be awake and go look for it.
That's it too, right? It comes out at weird times, and it's like a whole weird elusive thing. Was it like Iceland or something? They say you could see it, or Greenland, one of those, Sweden.
Oh, yeah.
Somewhere up there, they say it's like easier to see. I don't know.
Have you ever seen the northern lights?
No, I mean, I've only seen pictures. I was like, damn, that seems like something I gotta get my eyes on.
It's really cool.
That seems like something that you'd see and you'd be like, I should probably move to Alaska. This is pretty life-changing kind of stuff up here. I don't get northern lights here. I see planes flying into JFK by sky. There's no northern lights down here. The excitement level's pretty low when it comes to cosmic galactic greatness in the sky down in New Jersey.
Yeah, you'd be amazed by the view of the stars too, I bet.
Oh man, yeah, because your city lights are probably like nil at the end of the night. So
Yeah, I
again,
don't have
no light.
daylights.
I mean, I've been to places where there's no light pollution, and at night you do look up, and the first time that you see that and you get your eyes on like a raw sky with no light pollution, it will blow your mind for sure.
You can see the haze, the Milky Way and stuff. It's something else.
Like with your bare eyes without even squinting.
That happens to us every year because it doesn't get dark in the summer, and there's like, I guess that's one thing I look forward to every fall is you look up and you're like, oh yeah, stars. Awesome, because it just doesn't get dark enough
Right.
all summer.
Yeah,
and
you
then
miss it for a chunk of time, and then you get it.
Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
Old friends, like, oh yeah, stars.
Let me ask both you guys this, since you're about 900 miles apart, and I was reading that Alaska is obviously big on dog sledding. Is that something that is like regional? Is that something that everybody's into in every town? You got local teams. Like, what is the bit with this? Everyone looks at, whenever I hear Alaska around here, everyone's like, oh yeah, I did a rod. That's the thing. Is that real? Is you guys really got some mush dogs outside? You got a fantasy mush dog team? What's happening out there with the mush, with the mushing?
That's the only way to travel. Yeah.
So you should have just stuck with that and been like, no, we all just take dogs everywhere. It's the only way to move.
That is real, but it's not a really strong culture in Homer. I
Okay.
would say. That's probably more of an interior.
Yeah, where it's like super deep, Alaska, I guess, for lack of a better term. So more center and more north, where it's like more isolated a little bit than down where you
We have
guys are.
none here.
What about out there by Chiluk?
Well, we have none.
None?
None.
You don't have
no
a-
one does out here.
You guys don't sponsor a local sled dog team and put the jerseys on them? Very disappointing.
No, unfortunately. Maybe next year. Who knows?
Hilarious.
Interesting. Yeah, because, I only knew, I worked with someone years and years ago. I just remember this, years and years ago, and she was obsessed with the Iditarod, and I don't even know where it starts, but I know it has something to do with up there, and she would always go to Alaska and hang out. And she loved it. I wish I thought about that. I would have probably asked her that before asking you guys, but yeah, crazy. Yeah, wow. All right. Well, I mean, I want to thank you guys for joining. I don't want to kick you off, but I don't know what else I could ask you. I mean, I could probably talk to you all night, but I don't want to hold you up. It's early for you guys. It's a 4-hour difference for you, so it's 5:40
Time for me to
here.
get back to work.
Yeah, it's only.
Yeah, workday starting here soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 1:40 for you. I'm already having 3 gin cocktails in, so I'm calling, my night's ending.
Or it's just getting started.
Or it is probably just getting started, depending on how you look at it. Yeah, I'm just gonna sip on some of this jam and gin mix that I'm having here, and I'm gonna make something Crush's hot sauce later. Is what I'm gonna do. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys wanna say? You wanna plug? You wanna talk about? I mean, I'm open. I'll again, I could be here forever, but I feel bad holding you up.
Just looking at your product lineup, though, I think you did order all that from our store. We try to.
Yeah, all of this stuff is from you. And I didn't try it yet. And I'll do it right now. Is the chocolate? I don't know. Do you guys make the chocolate or what?
Oh, we do.
I will tell you that when I got it, I had to put it in a bag because it got smashed in the box, which isn't uncommon because it's the post office, but it's okay.
Darn it.
That's all
But I
right.
just wanted to mention,
not your
so
fault.
Barnacle Seafood makes the hot sauce in the jams and jellies you have there, and
Okay.
then Stoked Beekeeping is here in Homer, and they're the ones that make that.
Okay, so we got, it says on here, Barnacle. Yep, I said earlier the Barnacle was that. Stoked I didn't catch. But now that you say it, I see it says Stoked, yeah. Made in Homer.
So
Dope.
we make lots of products with their honey, and they are here in Homer. Great folks. But
This chocolate's super salty. I'm assuming you guys make this?
we do, yep.
It's really delicious. What kind of chocolate do you use? You growing chocolate up there? No, I don't think so, right?
No, we found this cool company in California, Santa Barbara Chocolate Company, that makes this. It's called King of the Belgians. It's this really cool 3-ingredient chocolate. It's vegan, and we just kind of do our thing with it. Add a little salt and make a bar and make those bites like you have. And it's really good.
I mean, the chocolate is, it's a powerful, delicious chocolate. I usually don't like chocolate unless it's not that it's a really good one, but I'm just never like chocolate guy. This is exactly what I would want in chocolate. It's super dark, it's super rich, and I'm digging the salt
Oh
on
man,
it.
I need to order some now, man.
Yeah, you do. Get on there, bro.
It's really good.
It really is. Again, I don't want to consider myself a chocolate snob because I don't particularly like chocolate so much, but I will always try it. I'm not opposed. This one is that's a super high quality chocolate. I'm not just saying that. I would tell you it sucked. This is really, really good. I'm a fan.
It's just like a vessel to eat delicious salt with, basically.
good.
And we
It's
came
not-
up with that when we first started our business, we did vendor events, like little booths, like slinging our salt. And that was just one way for people to sample it, because it's kind of a tricky thing to sample. And so we started I get like Ghirardelli's chocolate and melt it, put our salt on top for people to taste.
Right.
And then we just, expanded on that, and people wanted to buy it.
People love chocolate, so that's a smart move.
Yeah.
Well, I guess plug your respective companies here, and then I guess I'll let you guys go, and we'll continue to talk. If you want, I could try to send you guys some stuff from New Jersey. I don't know what great stuff we have. It seems like you got us crushed on the gin and the jams and the honeys. I don't know. I could sell you. I don't know if I could send you some beers or something, but I could send you something maybe.
No, you're good. But if you ever come and visit, hit us up.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, plug your plug Alaska Salt Co., please. Give it the old plug.
Yeah, let me know where to get that chocolate and the salt.
AlaskaSaltco.com.
Yeah, they got
Check it out. And another thing worth checking out is Brittany's email. She has a little weird cult following with her email that she writes.
Yes, I got all the emails after I started doing it. I was like, is she emailing me directly? I was like, these are a lot of emails I just got. And I was like, oh no, this is like a really cool blog. And I was like, oh, this is super cool. And actually, I knew it was going to be great to chat with you guys because it was like a really great, thought out kind of super cool thing. So I appreciate being on that list. That was super cool to read.
It's it basically just started during COVID, like just
trying to stay sane.
Real salty, and started writing stuff really
real salty.
Genuinely, yeah. And it's not for everybody. It's really inappropriate most of the time, but
I try my hardest to make this show as appropriate as possible because I've been doing shows like this at the studio for like over a year now, like pre-COVID, and then COVID started. I was like, all right, well, let's start doing some shows. And then this year I was like, well, let's focus on something instead of just coming down here and shooting shit and talking. I'll have the salty AF sticker I'm going to put right here.
nice.
And like, that's the thing. Like, just the more you do it, the better it gets. And like, not everyone is into just late night rants and bants about whatever crazy shit gets in your head. But you know what? Those are my people. Those are the people I want to talk to. So if you don't like what I'm saying, beat it.
Yeah. It's fun. It's super fun.
It's plenty of people. Well, that's cool. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Garrett, you want to give the old shill for the Port Chilkoot?
Oh, you know it. Yeah, just go to portchilkootdistillery.com. You can check out our blog. It has all the stuff about the recipes and everything that we create in the tasting room. And also has a link. As you found out, it's difficult to order spirits from Alaska.
It is.
But it does have our distributor, High Spirits, on there. And they'll be able to ship to a select few states. I think it's about 13. So
yeah, luckily New Jersey was one, and I was able to finagle it out here. And they were easy to deal with. You go to the website, you click what you want, and they send it right to me. So it wasn't a pain. So that was good. They should be a sponsor of the show. Maybe they would have helped me out a little bit more, but it's fine. It got here. We're not mad.
Right on.
Guys, thank you so much, all three of you, for joining. This was super fun. Honestly, like, it makes me super happy to talk to people like you from states like this because it makes me feel some kind of connection to places I haven't been. So hopefully if I get out to Alaska one day, we'll meet up and have a drink at least or something. But thank you all for joining, guys. I really super appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much.
You guys are the best. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, have a great night.
You guys too.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, man. Oh, they were great. How great was that? That was great. What great Alaskan people we were just talking to. Ah, dude. Again, that makes me happy. Just like last week. Super cool. This whole show is working out. It's going to be a fantastic year. Makes me happy. Well, if we find people from Arizona, these Arizona people keep dropping like goddamn flies, but what could you expect from so much desert heat hitting you all day? Wow, that was super cool. So different areas of Alaska, about 800-900 miles apart. Who would have saw that coming? Really cool areas out there. So I'm just going to cruise through. Let me pull up the map a little bit here. So here, let's just do a little quick deep dive. So let's just see where Port Chilkoot is, or Chilhoot, or whatever the hell. I'm not good with words. Haines, Alaska. Okay, so they're right here on the water. All right. And then let's do the directions to Homer, Alaska. Let's see what kind of drive we're talking about here. Casual 20-hour drive, 5-hour flight. See, it doesn't look like it's that bad. Like, looking at this, I'd be like, oh, that's not that bad. That's like Boston to New York. It's a fucking 20-hour drive. 1,000 miles? Through the Yukon? Through the Yukon? We just had guests through the Yukon. Crazy. And you have to pass through Anchorage to get there. All right, so anyway. So you have to, if you wanted to get there from continental America, continental United States, you'd have to go near Seattle, drive up through Vancouver, through British Columbia, to get into this south side of Alaska here. And then near Juneau. And then once you're in Juneau, which is kind of where Port Chilkoot is, a little north of Juneau, right up this bay here. Oh, wow, they got a really nice spot. Look, they're right on the water here by Mud Bay. And then once you're on Mud Bay, then you got to get the hell out of the Juneau. And like he said, there's only 3 roads out, I think. You have to drive through Canada to get to Haines to Homer, so bring your passport. Yeah, there it is. You got to leave again through the Yukon and go back. Better off taking a 5-hour flight, maybe. And then, I mean, this just looks like a treacherous drive. I mean, I've done some driving out in the mountains, but this looks like some crazy driving out here in the mountains. Like, what the hell's going on out here? You know what we should do? Let's do this. So we just chatted with people from this side and this side, and it's what? It's 1:48 over there. Here's something I wanted to do. So as I continue doing this show, I'm always looking for guests from every state. So keep in mind, anyone you know from any state that would be a good guest, send them my way. I need people from every state you can imagine. I mean, I got people lined up, but I always expect people to drop at last minute. Just happens. Sorry, I'm not paying my guests, so they're probably not going to show up. Alaska, you guys were great. You showed up. You came in hard. You sent some great stuff. Love you guys. Arizona, I'm looking at you. All right, we're trying to line up some people in Arizona. You're being real flaky out there in your heat. Okay, get your heat right. Get your temperatures right. Get your shit together out in Arizona. We got to talk. Anyway, let's deep dive. So they told us a little bit about the food culture there. Let's deep dive into the middle of this North National Park zone. Let's try something. Let's cold call a restaurant in the middle. Not by me. No, Alaska restaurants, not coastal New Jersey restaurants. Stupid. I want to cold call a restaurant out there and just talk to whoever answers. It's 1 o'clock. One shift is ending. Let's see what's going on out there. But preferably one in the mountains, if possible. I want to talk to somebody in the restaurant industry. Old Town Cooper Center Inn and Restaurant. Caribou Hotel. Fast Eddie's. Fast Eddie's Restaurant. Let's take a look at the menu. Let's see if this is a chain. Well, doesn't look like that's working. Fast Eddie's not so good. Let's keep looking. Sourdough Campground and Cafe. Sounds delicious. It says they're open 24 hours. Oh, it's a campground. That's bizarre. Let's keep looking. Beautiful Sheep Mountain Lodge. As a play on the Mount Airy Lodge. Mexico and Alaska restaurant. Please be open. Modest option spotlighting an extensive menu of homestyle Mexican fare such as enchiladas and flautas. Oh, this is going to be good. Is there a... Do you guys have an area code up there? They literally don't have an area code. I got to guess your area code. There we go. All right, let's call him. Bring it up. We're going to call Mexico and Alaska right now. 907-349-1528. Ring, ring. Let's see who we get. It's not ringing yet. Okay. Still waiting. Why doesn't my shit ever want to work? Holly, I see you there from Salco. You're great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining. Sending me that delicious chocolate. You're great. Just trying to get this call to work here. Oh, reload the old website. Why can't I call anyone? Maybe I need to add a 1. Perhaps we need to add a 1. Perhaps not. All right. My phone stinks. Can I even call myself? Can I just call from here? Maybe it'll work if I do it here. I can't call from here. I'm gonna try to call myself. See if that works. I think the whole situation might just be busted. All right, let's just try to reboot it. Please hold. This is what happens when you get COVID restrictions and you can't get the goddamn production team in here, you know what I mean? Thanks so much, Holly. Try calling the number at least. Jesus Christ. It's always fun when this stuff doesn't work, you know what I'm saying? 843. Sorry. Trying to make this phone call work a bit. Calling my number. See, incoming works. All right, well, I don't know what to say. Allow. Just a little casual live troubleshooting is all. I'm just going to let it run in the back and hope it works. All I want to do is call. I want to make some outgoing calls. What the hell? I can do it on my phone. I mean, maybe that's the move. I know that'll work. Let's do that. Should always have a backup plan, you know? You know what they say? If you don't have a backup plan, you're a goddamn idiot. Let's call. 907. Here we go. 907 349 1528. Call, baby. Bring that music down. Thank you, production. Calling Mexico and Alaska.
Mexico and Alaska, may I help you?
How you doing? Do you have a minute to talk about Mexican food in Alaska?
Yes.
Hey, what's your name?
What do you like, sir? You gonna order?
Oh, no, I'm not from Alaska. I just wanted to ask about Mexican food in Alaska. I just had some questions, that's all.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
What kind of food are you guys doing up there? What regional Mexican food are you doing? Oh, okay. Well, you know, sometimes you're not the friendliest when you're up in the what do they call it? The Juneau State, whatever the hell it's called. Look, she's just trying to sell some goddamn Mexican food. She doesn't want to talk to me. Let's find somewhere else. Let's give it one more shot. Look at that dumb bird. Kincaid Grill. New American dishes featuring local seafood and game. White tablecloth setting. Closed today, sad. Jack Sprat. Let's call these people. Closed, open at 4. Let's be honest, these people want to talk to me. I don't even know what the hell I'm going to say to them. There's really nothing to say. Oh, sorry for that. But we are going to have to find some places to call for Arizona, because Arizona, you're not doing your goddamn job and giving me people to talk to. You're not nearly as friendly as Alabama and Alaska. And that means I got to come at you hard. We took it pretty easy on Alaska and their criminal history of psychotic loners. Mainly because we found some really great people to represent the state. Now, Arizona, if we don't find good people, it might not be pretty for you. Yet again, we pushed way past longer than I wanted to, but overall, I think we cut it a little bit shorter. Probably a great time to end it. This is Bits and Bytes, United States edition. Week 2 in the great state of Alaska. We had guests from Port Chilkoot Distillery out in Haines, Alaska, making some of this fantastic gin. You can get it on their website. And then we went to alaskasalt.com, where we got a couple different great goods. They make their own Alaskan salts up there using real Alaskan water with real Alaskan local shit. Alderwood, they use a local alderwood, firewood, or fireweed rather, they spice it with, and all this delicious stuff. They were super cool. Holly and Casey and Garrett from Port Chilkoot. We did not get to talk to the people from Barnacle, but they make the hot sauce, which is a fantastic hot sauce. Highly recommend checking out the Barnacle Foods Bullwhip hot sauce. And as Garrett said, they have a bourbon barrel aged version, which he thought was very good. Wish I saw that. I might have picked it up. Although usually that's not the kind of hot sauce vibe I like. Maybe you would. Barnacle Foods also makes this delicious rhubarb jam and spruce jelly that I've been mixing into this gin and making what I'm going to call little Alaskan spritzes. Fantastic. The chocolate there is great. Support these people. It's hard times, not just where you are in your community. It's hard times in Alaska, too. Probably harder out there also. Tourism hits hard out there in those towns. So go to these goddamn websites and buy some chocolate. Tell them I sent you. And then let's not forget the honey from Stoked. Stoked Beekeeping out in Haines also. Super tasty stuff. The fireweed and then the wildflower honey that's there also. You can get all that stuff from Alaska Salt. They have like a one website where you can buy all that stuff. And then to get the booze, you got to do a little more hooping and hollering because it's it's booze. You can't just ship that in the mail easily. But you can get it if you go to the Port Chilkoot website. So Alaska became a state in 1959. One of the foster children of the United States. What a fantastic episode with fantastic guests. We've learned some things, I think. I did, and it was fun, and it was great. Let's check the menu. What's next week? Week 1, Alabama. Done. Week 2, Alaska. Done. Week 3, Arizona, baby. Week 4, Arkansas. And then we're clear of the A's. Then we got California, Colorado, Connecticut. That's a good run. The C's are a good run. California's got some good bites and bits and juice. Colorado as well. I'm waiting on a couple packages. Connecticut. A couple things to be said for Connecticut food. I'm not quite sure where to go yet on the Connecticut food. There's a lot of options. Connecticut. A Pete's being a thing. I don't know if I can get a Pete's here, but we're going to figure it out. All right, guys. Well, I just want to thank all of you for joining. Whoever's been here, thank you, everybody in the chat. Appreciate your questions and your input. You guys are super cool, super great. You make it super fun. The guests, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining Bits and Bites. So.